It's like about 13 years since I've been here. This was the first place that I actually lived when I first came to Thailand. So I've been living in Thailand now for over 13 years, and because of that I often get asked, how did you come to be here and how have you managed to stay so long? So I'm going to answer some of those questions today, starting with where I am right now. And I'm actually on Third Road in Pattaya, the junction with Central Pattaya Road, and this is actually the first place that I lived when I came here. And that is where the story starts. So people often ask, why do you move to Thailand in the first place? And I think people have their own reasons why they would move here. People often say, well, what were you running away from? There must have been something really terrible in your home country, which in my case is the UK. And I've got to say to you, in my case, that's just not true. So I wasn't really running away from anything in England. In fact, I had a nice good job and a nice home in England. I used to come to Thailand about 4 times a year, and then I was kind of thinking, if you're coming that often, maybe you should try living here. And I was in a very fortunate position because in my job, I work for the government in the UK, I could apply for annual leave without pay. So what I decided to do was see whether I'd like it by taking 1 year's unpaid leave and coming to live in Thailand. That's what I did. So I came here and I got a room, and that room was like 5,000 baht for a month, so it wasn't that much. And I had got my budget that was meant to last me something like a year, which is what I'd booked off from work. That's when it started to go wrong a little bit, because somehow the budget that I'd brought with me to last for 1 year, well, it was almost gone. I'd spent money on wine and women and of course wasted the rest, as they say. And I looked in the bank and there was no way that that allowance was going to last for the 12 months that I thought I was going to be here. So basically I was faced with the possibility of having to go back like 9 months early, something like that. So if you ask me the question after living here for a few months, do you actually want to go back? Well, no, that was the last thing that I actually wanted, to go back to the UK at that point. And it was kind of like fate, that something intervened to change the situation. So there I was contemplating the fact that I might have to go back to the UK, and I was going to tell this story to my good friend Alan when we met up for our weekly coffee. We always met in Royal Garden Plaza. It was here that inside someone handed me a leaflet that was going to change my plans completely.
Wow.
And that leaflet said, and I remember the words very well, do you want to stay in Thailand? But then it said, become an English teacher. And I said to my friend Alan, no, I don't think I could do that. I'd never been an English teacher before. So I took the leaflet, the flyer, screwed it up and I threw it in the bin. And he said to me, don't be so hasty. If you really want to stay, give it a go. So I thought, well, yeah, what have I got to lose, really? So I took the paper out of the waste bin and then I phoned up the number that was shown on there, and they said, come on in for an interview the day after tomorrow. And I ended up going to Bangkok on Friday to be interviewed for a job that I'd never done before, which was to be an English teacher in Thailand with the possibility of staying for 1 year with a visa and a work permit. Well, let's see what happened next. Good morning. I've come about the job.
We need a teacher urgently. Do you have any experience?
No, I've never been a teacher before.
Never mind, but can you speak English?
Well, yeah, I think I can speak English. I come from Birmingham.
Well, we are pretty desperate, so I suppose that'll have to do.
Yeah, I suppose it's near enough.
The school is in Ratchaburi. Is that convenient for you?
Ratatouille, yeah, I know where Ratatouille is. It's like in Bangkok, isn't it?
Well, it's kind of on the outskirts of Bangkok.
I've heard of it. I don't know exactly where it is.
Don't worry about that. We can take you there. When can you start?
Wow, so quick.
So pack everything in a bag and be here before next Monday.
Okay, let's do it.
Congratulations.
I really wanted to work in Bangkok, and when they told me Ratchaburi, I really heard Ratchaburi that I knew was a station on the SkyTrain, so I thought I was just going to a suburb of Bangkok. They put me in this minivan, And the journey went on and on and on. I thought I was going to be in Bangkok, but I'm actually 100 kilometers away. I haven't been here for like 13 years, 12 years, something like that. And this is Benjamin Ratchett School in Ratchaburi, and it was a real culture shock when I arrived here. This is a massive school. It's got like more than 1,000 students here. It used to be a really good school. Well, that was till I came here, I suppose. This was the football pitch when I was here. They used to let people like me coach the football team, even though I don't know much about football, being an Aston Villa supporter. But they did let us join in with the after-school activities. And it's quite amazing to be back. I mean, it hasn't really changed that much at all. I never forget when they delivered me here that I just couldn't believe where I was. It was like a different world. People here, they don't really speak English. In fact, if I can speak any Thai language at all, I probably picked most of it up while I was in Ratchaburi, because when I came here, I found out that unless you learnt some Thai, you couldn't really order anything to eat. You couldn't find it easy to get transported from where you were living to the school and back every day. And you really couldn't function, so I had to quickly pick up some basic Thai just by necessity, which is not a bad way to learn, to be honest. Every morning I had to be here at 7:30 in the morning for the raising of the flag. It's a tradition in Thai schools that in the morning they have the national anthem and the raising of the Thai flag. I arrived on the Friday with no bedclothes, nothing to sleep on basically. So they dropped me at a hotel or apartment and told me that's where I was going to be living for the next 12 months. There weren't even any bed sheets or bedclothes on the bed or anything, and I hadn't brought any of that sort of thing with me because I was living in rented accommodation. So the first trip was to Big C so that I could buy some things that I needed. And Big C was going to become my friend over the next 12 months because it was one of the few places where people understood English. Well, at least if you went in the KFC or the Pizza Hut, then you could get something to eat. Otherwise, everyone spoke Thai in Ratchaburi. So I'm here in one place that I'll never forget from Ratchaburi, which is KFC, because I think I said to you that everyone in Ratchaburi speaks Thai, of course, but hardly anyone spoke English. So whilst I was learning my Thai to try and order food, I had to come to KFC probably like 2-3 times a week. It was either KFC or Pizza Hut in Big C, Ratchaburi, were the only places where you could get food and actually order it in English. I gotta say, when I first came here, it's like a little bit scary, to be honest. It was the first time that I'd actually worked somewhere where I couldn't speak any of the language. And just the basic things like getting around, getting from the hotel into school and back, and then finding places to eat and just speaking to people in normal conversation. It was all a bit scary, I have to admit. But as the months went by, and I did pick up a few words of Thai and understand a little bit, it became a lot more interesting and a lot more comfortable to live here. But the first few days I was just like worried and scared and thought, what a bad decision I've made. I was ready to quit. But I stuck with it and I'm still here now. And Ratchaburi was the sort of place where for the first few months there I was fascinated, learning the Thai language, learning about Thai culture, learning so many different things. After that it became a little bit boring because you couldn't even go and see a soundtrack an English movie at the cinema or the movie theatre. Every weekend, to get away from Ratchaburi when we were off school, we used to go to Hua Hin, which is like about an hour down the line that way, or maybe into Bangkok, which is the other way. And we used to have a couple of days there. When we went to Hua Hin, we got a train back at about 5-6 o'clock in the morning. Probably 5 o'clock, because we were back at school ready for the flag waving at 7:30 in the morning. We used to call it the milk train that we got. And a nice traditional breakfast at the railway station. And that was our weekend away to give us some entertainment, because in all honesty, for foreigners 10 years ago or more living in Ratchaburi, there's not that much to do. After being there for a year, I really wanted to get a job this time, no mistakes, in Bangkok. And I applied for a few jobs and I was successful in getting a job as a director of studies at a language school in Bangkok. And very soon I found myself getting on a train in Ratchaburi and heading back to Bangkok, where the next part of this story will continue. I do hope you enjoyed this trip down memory lane, and really what I wanted to show is it can be the slightest thing that gives you a break in this country. Take that opportunity. Don't be scared to plunge in to the local Thai culture, learn the language, eat the food and all of the rest of it, because I haven't regretted it for a minute. And maybe it's something that you can do. I came here at age 47 and I'm still here now. Maybe you can do the same. Hope you enjoyed this video. I enjoyed making it. See you again for another video very soon. Bye for now.